Hello everybody, and today I'm going to be trying to did not get hit at all, and I'm going to actually mute up for this so I can completely focus. actually, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't even expecting in a lobby like this to actually succeed in this. Much less still get a tie for second in kills. Though they got more assists, so there's that. At least I'm just gonna, I'm pretty sure that I took no damage an entire game, and I did kill people. I did actually contribute some, not a lot, really, but I was there. And, well, yeah, that challenge was actually not that exciting. It was literally just me trying to stay a little bit away from mid, you know, and it wasn't that, and in the air, so whippers couldn't hit me unless they could air shot. So that really wasn't exciting. So I'm going to actually do another round where I just play normally. And that's going, because that is not very exciting. One of the reasons, by the way, that I haven't been getting in other don't die rounds is some of those classes I find very boring. Like, I really do not enjoy playing Hydro and Toxic. Although I actually can I can easily not survive in Toxic. I did that when there were literal pros, because there is a strat, and I was actually just messing around and seeing if, even with no experience, that strat it would work. And it did. That was my third Toxic game, and I was, like, immortal. Because of how the Toxic strat works. Which is why it's boring. Toxic, even if I don't do that, is boring to me. But, yeah. A lot of the pros don't actually do that strat. They don't because it's like being immortal, there's like no point. I could play Kinetic in a way where I probably wouldn't be able to really die, really. Or I would be almost immortal. You can, pretty much every class has that. The fire equivalent is vertical teleport spam. If they spam teleport vertically, it's very hard to catch them, unless they started in the ground as a Kinetic. Like, sideways, you can use your thing, you can, you know, get closer to them, you can waste their mana, but that doesn't work if they're vertical spamming. Well, like, you can get up fairly high, but then they'll just get a number, and you all have to predict when they come down, because there's a height limit. So obviously they can't go above, so they have to come down at some point. Or they'll just die because of it. So yeah, but it's still when fire to be pretty much immortal unless your enemy can actually really predict when you're going to go down in particular, and then they have to be prepared for it. But that's the one time, like, you can actually really intercept a fire vertical hopping. Well, not hopping, but teleporting. They just teleport into the sky, and then it's very hard to get to them. But it's doable. I've done it before, but it's just not a fun experience. They often do it at a generator too, and I would deflect the fireballs. Now I know how to do that, but the problem is you can barely see the fireball vertically. It's like it doesn't exist, basically, in terms of model and sight. So you're not going to be able to target it, really. And that's the problem. Targeting it is a lot more difficult. Well, actually, it's like, I'm not even sure if that actually is possible. It might be. It might not be. I don't know if it's possible. It's possible that the model is just too tiny in general. You know? Because actually, the fire model is actually tinier than Wyver. But at least that's what I've heard. I haven't looked at the actual thing, so I wouldn't know for sure. But that's just what I've heard. I'm actually in a bit of a pickle here. But it'll regen my health by just attacking is the thing. They actually know how to. Actually, they seem not terrible in crowd combat, which is usually something that I can count on them not being good at. So that's just not ideal. Makes it more difficult. Because they can actually seem to track me when I'm doing this, which is unusual if they aren't, like, if they can't kill you fairly well. So it's just, I would just not have expected this, honestly. I've always been better at fighting like a horde of people, regardless of the number, than actually fighting pros. Like, occasionally I can find, like people, and I can actually, like, if I were to fight them one-on-one, I would have a fairly likely chance of dying, but when there are two of them, I become immortal, because I can actually just use my strat, and it actually works in that case. It's mostly because you have to identify someone as you, and when they movement can be either. So it's like, if it's quick enough and you lose sight of your enemy, it's really, you're going, and your teammate, you know, then you really have to rely on reacting to who it is, which doesn't seem like it'd take time, but it does take time. After all, like, it's a human reaction time, everything, I can also have that problem. But it's why having multiple teammates can sometimes even be a disadvantage. Of course, if they're working together, that's not a concern. You aren't going to, if you can work together, it's just like, never mind, they are stronger, you know? They're a lot stronger when they know how to work together. You know, one day I actually figured out how to is one weird day where instead of being able to fight fires like I normally could, I just started obliterating toxics out of nowhere in close range, and I don't know how I would just do this. I could just, you know, avoid the toxic attacks and get really close in, and I've never been able to do that before or again. It's just gone. The knowledge is gone. But I can fight fires again, so there's that. I don't actually know how I killed them. Wait, it's probably... I think there might be, like, a specific thing to do with Wither effect, or something like that. Well, Kinetics don't have Wither effect, but it's possible that if someone heals from an attack, like Wither, maybe, like, it doesn't count the Wither as being associated with that player. Probably something like that. I don't know, but they probably had a tick thing killing them. Either that or there's the attack I launched and I didn't even realize it existed, which could happen, honestly. It could happen in the heat of the moment. Well, that's about all for this video. Bye.